one of the assistant coaches chasing Caitlin Clark down as she's riling up the crowd. And it seems like she's getting scolded, reprimanded, told, hey, all that hyping up, don't do that. Don't do it. Let's take a look here first. Now here we go. Body language doctor. Body language doctor is out and about. Kayla Clark's like, what the hell is this?
Clark reminded everybody who she is in the Fever win over the Wings in what was a blowout victory. One where Clark didn't even shoot the ball well.
The Indiana Fever coaching staff is facing intense scrutiny after a now viral clip showed assistant coach Karima Christmas Kelly physically grabbing rookie phenom Caitlin Clark mid-celebration during a dominant win, sparking widespread outrage among fans and commentators. The clip, captured in high definition and spread rapidly across social media, reveals Clark rallying the crowd with her signature energy before being abruptly stopped by Christmas Kelly, who appears to place her hands on Clark's arms in an attempt to restrain her.
Clark has gotten to the point where she realizes if she gives the ball to Natasha Howard, not only is she not going to get the ball back, but Natasha Howard isn't even going to look in her direction. We have officially reached that.
The timing was immediately questioned. Clark had just hit a big shot and was being subbed out in a game they were leading comfortably. Her stunned expression said it all. This wasn't just a coaching cue or a heat-of-the-moment correction. It felt like a warning.
So look, I don't think it's any secret that I'm not a fan of the Indiana Fever backroom staff. I'm not a fan of what they're trying to do to Caitlin Clark. And I fully believe they're trying to diminish, they're trying to dim the flame of Caitlin. And they're trying to make her fit in to what the WNBA used to be, rather than fit out and be her. I mean that. Like, that is my opinion, and there's no question about that.
Body language analysts, fans, and former players alike have chimed in, calling the move tone-deaf, unprofessional, and symbolic of a much deeper issue. The Fever have not yet released a formal statement, but the silence is being read as an admission of mismanagement.
So everybody online is talking about this play during one of the games where, as you're going to see, one of the coaches for the Indiana Fever just went and pretty much almost tackled Caitlin Clark for getting the crowd riled up, man.
Questions remain about whether this was an isolated lapse in judgment or indicative of broader tensions simmering within the organization.
Why is she doing it? And I want to say that's this lady right here, Karima Christmas Kelly, one of the assistant coaches. And as you seen right there, she just seemed to have went and grabbed the Caitlin Clark. As Caitlin Clark was trying to get the team, the crowd amped up for a big time game. And
what makes the incident more concerning is its alignment with a disturbing pattern of behavior from the Fever coaching staff and players toward Caitlin Clark, who has arguably been the most impactful rookie in WNBA history. Since joining the team, Clark has been subject to highly questionable rotations, odd benchings during hot streaks, and blatant ball denial from certain teammates.
But like, this clip getting shown again, and it's just, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable. Like, if a coach did this to any other player in the league, they'd be fired. Or they'd at least be questionable of being fired.
In a separate moment that gained traction, Clark bent down to tie her shoe after realizing Natasha Howard would not pass her the ball.
Then goes and hits a step back three on JC Sheldon. And she goes, the whole crowd's going nuts. And she comes, and she's getting subbed off, by the way, at this stage. She's getting subbed off for the game. She doesn't go back in the game at this stage. So it's not like it's a close game. They're up 20. She does not see the floor again. Caitlin Clark is there hyping up the crowd. She's there trying to hype up the crowd. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. You want to see this version of Caitlin. You want to see this player. And watch what happens here. So the coach just grabs her. Just grabs her out of nowhere. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything too malicious in that. I don't know if there's anything too malicious. We don't know what's said. But like, You can't just grab
A subtle but powerful statement on her status within the team dynamic. It's this accumulation of microaggressions and puzzling decisions that has fans and analysts questioning the internal culture of the Indiana Fever. For a player who has brought historic media attention, skyrocketing ticket sales, and an influx of new fans to the league, Clark is being treated less like a franchise savior and more like an unruly intern. And in this context, the mid-celebration grab doesn't feel like a blip. It feels like confirmation of everything her supporters feared. The business side of this controversy cannot be overlooked. Since Clark entered the league, the Indiana Fever's valuation has exploded from $90 million to an estimated $340 million.
That is transpiring with the Indiana Fever, but I said this yesterday, there is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the third situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. We had the Natasha Howard situation where Caitlin Clark bent down to tie her shoe up because she knew Natasha Howard wasn't even going to pass her the damn ball. And I'm telling you right now, that whole situation is crazy in itself. Ever since DeWanna Bonner been gone, they have simply turned this thing into the Natasha Howard team, bro.
League-wide merchandise sales have increased by over 230%, and Clark's presence alone has led to multiple sold-out arenas and record-breaking viewership numbers. Analysts have gone as far as to say she may be the WNBA's first billion-dollar athlete, drawing comparisons to Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan in terms of cultural and economic impact. So from a strictly financial standpoint, the idea of suppressing her voice, limiting her playing time, or diminishing her public image borders on negligence. The WNBA, a league long in need of a breakout superstar, finally has one. Yet instead of celebrating her, it appears elements within her own franchise are actively stifling her potential. Whether this is a case of jealousy, incompetence, or some misguided attempt at enforcing team unity,
Last season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was 26.5% of all economic activity as a rookie. Merchandise in the league went up 234%. But here was the one that struck me. Before she got there, the Indiana Fever, the valuation of the franchise was $90 million. After playing, 40 games, the valuation of that team now is $340 million. I don't think it's a game you duplicate. There is no second Steph Curry. There is no other player that plays like that. She could be $1 billion athlete. Like, when I see these numbers, I'm like, oh, this is Tiger.
The cost of mismanaging an asset like Clark is not just emotional, it's financial suicide. As the backlash intensifies, so too do allegations of deeper cultural and political motivations behind the treatment of Caitlin Clark. Some critics argue that Clark's refusal to play identity politics has made her a target within a league that often intertwines sports with social narratives. Clark's focus has remained solely on basketball, performance, and fan engagement, eschewing broader political messaging in favor of straightforward athletic excellence. For some, that's refreshing. For others, it disrupts a carefully constructed narrative around who gets to be the face of women's sports. And when a white woman like Clark dominates a space that hasn't historically been open to her archetype, resistance is inevitable. The question then becomes, is this resistance rooted in systemic discomfort, or is it the byproduct of an institution that simply isn't ready to handle a new kind of superstar? Either way, the optics are damning, and the league's failure to protect its most visible asset is beginning to look less like oversight and more like a deliberate campaign to put her in her place.
The Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that...
On a human level, the toll this is taking on Clark is visible to anyone paying attention. Her expressions on the bench, her hesitation during celebrations, and her visible frustration during games all signal a player under psychological strain. She entered the WNBA as a confident, charismatic leader, fresh off a record-shattering college career. Now, she looks weary. The sparkle that once lit up every court she stepped on is fading. It's not because she's underperforming, far from it. It's because she's being asked to suppress the very traits that made her a star in the first place. She's navigating more than defenses now. She's navigating politics, egos, and subtle forms of workplace hostility.
Caitlin Clark has been knocked on her ass. She's been knocked on her ass. She's been cheap-shotted. She's been poked in the eye. Everything. They have beat the Connecticut Sun. This is a month ago nearly. The Connecticut Sun beat the crap out of her. Absolutely beat the crap out of each other. But
For a 22-year-old in her rookie season, that kind of pressure can't be overstated, and fans are noticing the more she's micromanaged, the louder the crowd becomes. They're not just cheering for Clark, they're fighting for her right to be herself. Perhaps most disturbing is the idea that this could all end with a trade, and sooner than anyone expects. If the Indiana Fever continue down this path, they may very well force Caitlin Clark to consider her options.
89 against the Dallas Wings. Congratulations to the Fever. They killed it with their old and trusty playbook of just rim run.
Other teams are reportedly already watching the situation closely, gauging how long it will take for the tension to reach a breaking point. And if it does, Indiana will only have itself to blame. Because while Clark may have entered the league as a rookie, she holds more power than most veterans. She's not just a player, she's a brand, a cultural force, and an economic juggernaut. And if she decides to walk away from this dysfunction, there are at least a dozen franchises that would move mountains to get her. The Fever are playing a dangerous game, and if they lose her, they don't just lose a player, they lose their identity, their revenue, and their relevance. The assistant coach's physical intervention during the celebration isn't just about optics, it's about symbolism. It encapsulates everything fans and analysts have been saying for weeks, that Clark is being forcibly pulled back, both literally and metaphorically. Her celebration was not disruptive, it was electric, and yet, in the eyes of her own team, it was apparently too much.
Somebody had put on there, has this coach been reprimanded, suspended, fired? This is really terrible behavior. What is happening behind the scenes? If the WNBA wants to do an investigation, they might want to look into the Fever staff treatment of Caitlin Clark. And you see right here, women are equal, correct? We all know the story. This would be if there was a male coach, why a double standard? Fire her. Coach's posture is interesting. I remember seeing it live and thought it was weird.
What does it say about a franchise that would rather suppress joy than embrace it? What does it say about a coaching staff that sees crowd engagement as a liability instead of an asset? The moment wasn't just inappropriate, it was indicative of a culture that's deeply broken. And unless addressed publicly, the fallout will only grow. Veteran voices and former players are beginning to speak out, pointing to a double standard that's hard to ignore.
I do think that she's a bit delusional here, and also like maybe the slightest bit disrespectful, because I don't know.
If a male coach had physically grabbed a female player mid-celebration, the outrage would be immediate and universal. There would be calls for suspension, if not termination.
No one is giving you a chance, and it's not fun no more. Angel Reese fans no longer making it fun. They've been very draining and exhausting. The Caitlin Clark haters is no longer making it fun. They draining and exhausting. Your fans, some of the CC fans are no longer making it fun. They are draining and exhausting. No one, I mean not one, is giving you the opportunity in your era to grow, for you to get better. Everyone has high expectations of you because of what you did your first year.
Yet in this case, the WNBA has remained notably silent. The lack of accountability only amplifies fan frustration. It raises serious questions about gender dynamics, internal politics, and the league's overall treatment of its stars. This is no longer just a Caitlin Clark issue, it's a WNBA issue, and how the league handles it will define its credibility moving forward. Even beyond the immediate incident, Clark's entire rookie campaign now looks like a cautionary tale of how not to treat a generational talent. From bizarre lineup decisions to inexplicable media narratives aimed at downplaying her success, the Indiana Fever and the league at large have fumbled what could have been a flawless debut season. Clark has been knocked down, poked in the eye, and ignored on the court, and through it all, she stayed composed. But that composure is beginning to crack. If the goal was to break her spirit, they're getting close. And if the goal was to make her conform, they might soon realize that some stars don't dim, they explode. At the heart of it all is a fundamental misunderstanding of what Caitlin Clark represents. She's not just another rookie. She's a movement, a tipping point, a spark that reignited women's basketball in a way few thought possible.
Caitlin Clark getting basically wrecked. This is one of the worst decisions that I have ever seen any league engage in. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw for a team sport in my life relative to the audience that would be fans of the sport without her. Bigger than Michael Jordan was for the NBA, bigger than any NFL star has ever been. All of those sports were very popular before those athletes got there. Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs, and they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. It's one of the dumbest things I've...
Trying to mold her into something quieter, safer, more palatable is not just foolish, it's costly. You don't handcuff your MVP, you let her lead. And if the Indiana Fever can't see that, then perhaps they're not worthy of the player they accidentally stumbled into. Because make no mistake, Clark didn't need them, they needed her. And if this mismanagement continues, they may learn the hard way what happens when you try to cage a wildfire.